Hello dear students, welcome back. Today we will be studying past simple and past progressive and the differences and how do we use them together. Let's start with past simple. We're talking about actions that happened and finished in the past, and they were short actions. Our grammatic structure, we use the verb to with every subject. I'm talking about affirmative, positive sentence. And in the negative sentence, we use didn't verb 1 instead of verb 2 because the past meaning comes from didn't. For example, I went home, but if I want to make this sentence negative, I didn't go home. Like this. In this one, I used verb 1 after didn't, and in this one, in positive sentence, I use verb 2. How do we do verb 2? We have regular and irregular verbs. Regular ones get ed or d at the end of them. For example, listened, worked, walked. But in irregular sentences, there is no logic, there's not a rule, and you have to memorize them. For example, eat, ate, run, ran, sleep, slept, think, thought. So we have to memorize these irregular verbs. For example, I listened, teacher, carefully. I had breakfast this morning. She didn't sleep last night. The verb to form is only necessary in positive affirmative sentences. How do I make the question form? Did, subject, and verb 1. Did you sleep well last night? I can answer in two ways because this is a yes-no question. Yes, I did for short answer. Yes, I slept well last night. No, I didn't. No, I didn't sleep well last night. And we have some time expressions. For example, yesterday, last week, last Tuesday. Everything that starts with last. Last night. Or I can give a specific time that refers to past. In 1998, for example. Or I can use ago. For example, 2 months ago. Or 3 days ago. Let's give examples. I saw him last night. He was going home. She had her exam yesterday. We didn't see him at yesterday's event. We can use our time expressions like this, and they all are at the end of the sentence. Let's study was verb. These are the verb to form of be. Which ones get was and which ones get were? I, he, she, it gets was, and you, we, they gets were. I was in garden. She was sick. We were late. They weren't happy. This is a negative sentence. I wasn't sleepy. She was hungry. They weren't thirsty. Like this. These are the examples of was and were. Were you at the school dance? I didn't see you. No, I wasn't, because I was sick. She called me last night to tell me that she wasn't going to come with us to the concert. Okay, let's examine these sentences. Were you at the school dance? I made a question sentence using was verb. I didn't see you. This is a negative sentence. Here, verb 1, this is didn't. No, I wasn't, because I was sick. She called me last night to tell me that she wasn't going to come with us to the concert. Wasn't going to is the verb to past form of be going to, which we use for planned future. And let's talk about this was or were going to. In present, when we're talking about this, we use am is are going to. And it refers to planned future. But what we understand from was were going to is that something was planned in the past for the future, but we couldn't manage to do it. But it didn't happen. For example, I was going to do my homework but I forgot. I was going to, my intention, my plan was to do my homework, but I forgot. And the thing that we understand from this sentence is I didn't do my homework. This is the result of this sentence. You were going to attend the meeting. Why didn't you? So, in this first sentence, we're talking about something that was planned, and we understand that it didn't happen. And I'm asking why. Why didn't you attend the meeting? Because my mother was ill, let's say. She was supposed to be here. Where is she? It means that she had to be here. She was supposed to be here. Where is she? So I again understand that she's not here. Someone else may answer as she is sick and resting home. Okay, and we also talked about past progressive. And the difference between past simple and past progressive, I again showed you like this. Let me show it one more time. We can count here as now, today. Past simple, yes, it's happened in the past, but it was a short action. Past progressive, again, happened in the past, but it happened for a while. We're talking about a long action that happened in the past. And we have talked about this. We generally don't use past progressive on its own while making a sentence. Instead, we combine past progressive and past simple to talk about actions that happened in the past at the same time or interrupted each other. For example, I was coming home when I saw you. This is our long action. I was coming home. This is it. When I saw you, this is the short action. I was coming home, and then here, I saw you. When and while is very important when we are combining sentences, past progressive and past simple. After when, we use verb to, past simple, which is past simple, which is also a short action. And after while, we use was verb, verb ing, which is past progressive, which is long action. While my mother was cooking, the phone rang. Let's show on the timeline which one is long and which one is short. While my mother was cooking here, telephone rang here. So this is the short action that we use with past simple, and this one is the long action that came right after while, used with past progressive. When she called me, I knew something was wrong. Or we don't necessarily have to use a long action and a short action. It can be short and short. It can be long, short, or long and long. When she called me here, I knew something was wrong. They are both short actions and happened right after each other. Past simple, past simple. So I could switch place of when and put it here. It doesn't matter, it doesn't change the meaning. Or I can change the order of the sentences. I knew something was wrong when she called me. Or I could say, when I knew something was wrong, she called me. While she was doing her homework, I was studying. These are both long actions that are happening in the same time in the past. She was doing her homework. I was studying. They both happened in the same time in the past. They called us while we were leaving. So there's an interruption between actions. We were leaving, they called us. Or I could say, as we were leaving, we can use while and as in the same meaning. As I was driving home, I had an accident. Here, I was driving home, and here, I had an accident. The short action interrupted the long action. Call me, or let me give another example. She immediately ran to the bathroom as soon as she arrived home. So we have two new phrases here. What do they mean? How do we use them? Immediately means something that happens quickly in seconds. As soon as she arrived home, the moment she arrived home, again, both of them means short action and they are happening very fast. So, because of their meaning, we can understand that when they are in the sentence, we can only use past simple because they mean fast action, and a long action can't be fast, so it needs to be a short action in order to be a fast one. As soon as you informed me, I started getting ready. In here, again, something gives us a quick action. As soon as you informed me, I started getting ready. Let's show it in our timeline. As soon as you informed me, I started getting ready. So there are like seconds between those actions. Okay, now let's study some irregular verbs. We have talked about run, it became ran. Become, became. Come, came. Go, went. Read, read. Eat, ate. Drink, drank. Have, had. Buy becomes bought. Sell, sold. Think, thought. Teach, taught. Put remains the same, put. Also, it applies for cut. It remains the same. Write, wrote. Bring, brought. Stand, stood. Understand, understood. Know, knew. We also have, let me think. Cuts, we said cuts. Eat, ate. Buy, bought. Sell, sold. Think, thought. Write, wrote. Bring, brought. I remembered this much for now. Let's repeat. Run, ran. Become, became. Come, came. Go, went. Read, read. Eat, ate. We also have show, showed. And learn, learned. Sleep, slept. Sting, stung. Build, built. These are the most common ones. For example, can becomes could. Will becomes would. Be, become, was, were. Have becomes had. Get, got. Hear, heard. Drive, drove. Drove, drone. And blow, blew. Fly, flew. I think that's pretty much it. Let's continue with, last but not least, past perfect. We have talked about this and said that it is the action that belongs to past perfect happened way before past simple. So we are making a chronologic timeline, and past perfect happened before past simple. And our grammatic rule is had verb 3. So why I'm saying this? Because now we need also to learn verb 3 form, which is past participle. For example, eats, ate, eaten. Writes, wrote, written. Have, had, had. Sink, sank, sunk. We also have sing, sang, sung. Have, had, buy, bought, bought. Sell, sold, sold. Break, broke, broken. Run, ran, run. Read, read, read. Know, knew, known. Let me think. Drive, drove, driven. Let me look at from here. Think, thoughts, thoughts. Take, took, taken, for example. Freeze, froze, frozen. So these are pretty much really important for you to learn and memorize because you will need them in every aspect of English. So let's go back to past perfect. We said we use had verb 3. If it's regular, verb 3, sorry. If it's irregular, we have to memorize. If it's regular, we're talking about ed or d. And we don't use past perfect on its own pretty often because it makes sense only if there is a meaning that something happened earlier than the past simple. So I can give an example like this. I had drunk an iced coffee before I went out. So some of the actions happened before the other. I had drank an iced coffee, happened here. I left home, I went out here. So this one happened before the second one. And as you can see, we are going to use before and after very often to indicate the timeline. Before she moved out, she had lived there for a long time. She had lived there and here somewhere she moved out. The main reason we use past perfect is to indicate something that happened even earlier than past simple. By the time I got home, he had been gone. You will come across by the time pretty often as well. By the time she arrived, her bus had left. So the meaning is here somewhere the bus left, and here she arrived. So she couldn't reach the bus. By the time my mom called me, I had been already on my way. So here my mom called me, and here I had been on the road. I am going to write two sentences using two different tenses, and I want you to pay attention to the meaning difference between them. By the time I arrived, my dad went out. By the time I arrived, my dad had gone out. Now, in these two sentences, actually, there's a huge difference. Because in here, they almost happened at the same time. I arrived here and my dad left here. So I saw my dad. But in here, I arrived here and my dad was already gone. He left here. So I didn't see my father. The meaning, the difference in meaning is very different. After I had completed my task, I went out. This happened first and this happened second. Here I completed my task and here I went out. They happened in order. Also, we have studied past perfect progressive. It gives the same meaning, but the difference between past perfect and past perfect progressive is past perfect progressive was a long action. So I can give the sentence structure is had been verb ing. Let's give an example. I had been living in that apartment before I had to move out. So the difference is I had been living in that apartment and here somewhere I had to move out. She had been preparing dinner for hours before the guests arrived. Let's see. She had been preparing dinner for hours before the guests arrived. This is a long action that happened before the past simple. Like this. She had been staying and resting at home before she completely healed. She was resting and staying home before she healed. So, let's review what we have studied so far. We have started with past simple. We have started with past simple. We said that we're talking about short actions that happened in the past, and we use verb to when we're making a sentence with using past simple. If we're making a negative sentence, we use didn't verb 1. And for the question form, I put did in the beginning of the sentence and then subject and verb 1. In order to create verb 2, we use either regular or irregular verbs. In regular verbs, we add ed or d at the end of the verb. And in irregular verb, the complete verb changes. This is the question form. Did you sleep well last night? Yes, I did. Here, this is the auxiliary. But in the affirmative sentence, normal affirmative sentence using past simple, doesn't require any did. That's why I omitted it and made my verb to. I saw him last night. We have talked about our time expressions. It can be yesterday, it can be last night, last week, last year, any time that indicates to the past, or we use ago structure. 2 months ago, 3 years ago, 2 days ago. And the common point is we use them all at the end of the sentence. Then we have talked about the verb to form of be, which is was, were. I, he, she, it, get, was. You, we, they, get, were. She was hungry, they weren't thirsty. These are the past form of emizar actually. She was hungry, they weren't thirsty, I wasn't sleepy, I was in garden. So the negative version is wasn't and weren't. And if I want to make a question sentence, I put was, were in the beginning. After that, our subject and whatever we want to express with the sentence. No, I wasn't because I was sick. Here you can see the negative form of verb. She called me last night to tell me that she wasn't going to come with us to the concert. Then we saw was or were going to, which is the past form of be going to, which we use in future to talk about exact or planned actions. Something was planned in the past for future, but it didn't happen. I was going to do my homework, but I forgot. My intention was to do my homework, but I didn't. You were going to attend the meeting. Why didn't you? This sentence on its own here, you shouldn't see this one. Even on its own, gives the meaning of that you didn't attend the meeting. She was supposed to be here. It kind of gives the same meaning as supposed to, but supposed to is more like the past version of have to. I could also say she had to be here. Where is she? Then we have talked about past progressive. The difference between past simple and past progressive is that past simple is a short action happened in the past, and past progressive took a while in the past to happen. I was coming home when I saw you. Our long action is that I was coming home, and here I saw you. The difference between long and short action is important. After when and while. What tense we use is, again, very important. After when, if I used when, I use past simple, which is verb to and short action. And if I use while, I put was verb ing, and then, which means long action, past progressive. Here you can see after while, right after while, we put a past progressive sentence. While my mother was cooking, the phone rang. This is the short action and this is the long one. And the short one interrupted the long one. When she called me, I knew something was wrong. Yes, we also told that it doesn't necessarily have to be a long and a short. It can also be short or long or long. When she called me, I knew something was wrong. They are both short actions. Here, she called me, and immediately I knew that something was wrong. While she was doing her homework, I was studying. Here you can see an example of the thing that we have talked. They are happening at the same time in the past. They called us while we were leaving. Here you can see a long and a short. While we were leaving, they called us. Or we said that we can use as instead of while. They mean the same thing. As also gets past progressive right after it. As I was driving home, I had an accident. By the way, if you confuse short and long actions, you should also look at the meaning. Because have an accident is something that happens immediately, not in a long term. She immediately ran to the bathroom as soon as she arrived. They both give us the meaning of a quick action. And when we get the meaning of something quick, we use short action, which is past simple. As soon as, and we can understand from the meaning that after these, if they're in the sentence, I have to use past simple in that sentence. As soon as you informed me, I started getting ready. As soon as you informed me, I started immediately getting ready. There are seconds between those two events. And we have talked about the irregular verbs. You should memorize. These are the most common ones, but you can also search for yourself and find them. They are very helpful for you to enlarge in your vocabulary. Then we have talked about past perfect, which is past of the past. Here is past simple, and here is past perfect. Our grammatic rule is that we use head verb 3. Doesn't matter what subject is used in the sentence. It's not up to the subject. We always use head verb 3. If it's a negative sentence, we use hadn't verb 3, which is short for had not. Then we have also studied some verb 3 forms of the irregular verbs. Eat, ate, eaten, write, wrote, written. As I have said, there's no logic behind it. You sadly should memorize them. And then we gave some examples. I had drunk a nice coffee before I went out. There is an order and events happening. I drank coffee here, I went out here. This happened way before than the second action. Before she moved out, she had lived there for a long time. We have talked about by the time, before, and after. We use them pretty often when we're talking about past perfects. After by the time, you should use past simple, verb 2. And after that, past perfect. Yes, this one is important because they look the same, but there's a huge difference in the meaning. By the time I arrived, my dad went out. I arrived home here, and this is right after it. He went out, so I saw my dad. But in here, by the time I arrived, he was already gone. He was already gone out. So he left here, and I came home here. After I had completed my task, I went out. As you can see, after, before, and by the time are frequently used in past perfect. We also have past perfect progressive, which gives the same meaning with past perfect, but the only difference is that it was a long action that happened before past simple. I had been living in that apartment before I had to move out. Had to move out. She had been preparing dinner for hours before the guests arrived. So it was a long action took place before the past simple. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I hope you understood and enjoyed our lesson. We will be continuing our lesson on our next week. See you later. Take care of yourselves.